welcome back to Tech Tips. Dry practice training is highly valuable to all marksmen, military and civilian alike. In this segment, Olympian and U.S. Army Reserve shooting team member, Sergeant First Class Keith Sanderson shares some of his insights.
All right, I am Sergeant First Class Keith Sanderson. I'm going to talk to you today about two types of drills that I do for pistol shooting, and which also applies to rifle shooting. They are dry fire and holding drills. The ratio that you should train dry fire to live fire, for me at least, is very close to 100 to 1. That is 100 dry fire shots, no bullets, just pulling the trigger with nothing happening, watching the sights of course, to every one shot that I shoot with a live round. 100 to 1. I cannot overemphasize the importance of dry fire. Recoil, what recoil does when you live shoot, when you shoot live rounds, recoil, if nothing else, moves your sights from being aligned to not being aligned. The advantage to dry fire is when the hammer falls when you're dry firing, nothing happens. You see exactly what was supposed to happen. You see exactly what actually happens. With live fire, you don't. The recoil will mask whatever small mistakes that you have. What a holding drill is when you build your position and grip, very similar to dry fire, but you exaggerate your follow-through for an extended period of time. Now, that extended period of time is anywhere between 30 seconds to, say, a minute and 30 seconds. During that time, you want to make sure that your position, what your body is doing, and your grip, which is what your hands are doing, are absolutely exactly the same. Throughout that minute, half minute, or minute and a half, you're constantly going through, ensuring your sight stays best aligned as you can, working your way back to your hands. Make sure that your grip is exactly the same as what it was when you started. Very intense and consistent. If you're shooting with two hands, with both hands are exactly the same, and intense and consistent. If you're shooting with one hand, just one hand. And you work your way back. Make sure that every joint in your body stays exactly the same for the entire portion of the holding drill. It's helpful sometimes to have somebody who can watch you and coach you, for lack of a better word, to ensure that you stay in the same positions. What a lot of times will happen is, as your body starts to tire, you'll change your position slightly to rest certain muscle groups by augmenting them with other muscle groups. You want to prevent that. That way, during this holding drill, you build your body where it can stay in the same exact position for extended periods of time. Now again, it's very similar to dry fire, except it's extended. It's your follow-through part of it. You can dry fire the first round and then hold it for an extended period of time. Dry fire, like I said before, is of critical importance. Once you have your position built and your grip strength built by holding drills, and you have that consistency, then you'll move on and do most of your training with dry fire. Now, the ratio of holding drills you should do for this building phase before you move on to dry fire is probably, I would say, somewhere around 6 to 10, usually about half split to about 8. 8 holding drills a day for 5 to 6 days in a row. During that holding drill, you want to do 1 minute on, 2 minutes off. In other words, you're holding the pistol intensely, whether one-handed or two-handed, in your position for 1 full minute, and then you relax. Take the pistol out of your hands, get the blood flowing back in your hands for 2 minutes. And at first it might seem easy, but by the time you get to the 8th one, if you're not sweating, you're not really doing it the right way. At the end of this 5 or 6 day training cycle, what you'll find is you'll be able to grip the pistol as hard as you can at 100% effort, and you won't shake at all, which of course is a significant advantage for recoil recovery, both in the combat shooting arena and in the Olympic arena for something, say like rapid fire pistol, or any type of pistol shooting for that matter. Once you move on into just dry fire mode, it's very much the same thing. What you need to do, both in holding drills and in dry fire, is be incredibly picky and critical of yourself, making sure that you do everything exactly the right way, that your fundamentals are executed exactly in the same picture that you think is correct. We won't get into what the fundamentals are right here. But it's important that you're very critical of yourself during dry fire. When you're not dry firing, when you're actually shooting live rounds, you're not going to be as critical. Well, your goal then is to just perform as best as you can. without being very judgmental of yourself. And that's a hard differentiation to make. It's hard to, most people have it the other way around. They want to try really hard and be real critical of themselves when it counts. But when they're dry firing, they think it doesn't count. Dry fire is the training you do. It's the foundation that you build all of the marksmanship fundamentals on. And that's where it's most important that you're critical of yourself. And again, the ratio for dry fire to live fire should be 100-1, if not more. You cannot go wrong by dry firing. You can never dry, as long as you're paying attention, you can never dry fire too much. One quick personal example, between the 2008 Olympics with me and World Cup Korea, World Cup Beijing in 2009, which is about a 6-month period, I shot live rounds. I shot less than 500 live rounds. And that's coming from somebody who had worked on a range every day, has free ammo and free guns. I have basically unlimited training time. Now, saying that I didn't shoot any more than 500 rounds, probably about 350 or 400 rounds during that entire time frame, doesn't mean I didn't train. I trained for hours and hours daily. And what I did was I dry fired. I dry fired a significant amount, and I was very critical, making sure that I moved the right way, making sure that my body did everything the right way that it was supposed to, making sure that my trigger control was proper, that I was looking at my sights the right way. And what that did for me is, in World Cup Korea and World Cup China, after those 2 World Cups, with essentially no live fire training before for the 6 months prior to them, I ended up #1 in the world. And it wasn't because I'm some great shooter, it's because I was training properly. And the times I did shoot live rounds were very special to me, and I took advantage of them. So, if I can leave you with that one idea of the importance of dry fire, never underestimate it, never think it's that you've trained too much dry fire, and never think that you need to go out and shoot live rounds to get better, because you don't. You need to pay attention when you dry fire, and that's the most important thing.